Joining me now is Peter Navarro, Mr. Trump's former trade advisor. Welcome back to the show, Peter. It's good to see you. I'm going to talk about China in just a moment. First, forgive me, but I want to talk to you about vaccination. I know that you are not vaccinated. I want to know why, and I'm going to ask, what are you prepared to give up because you're not vaccinated? You're going to give up your job? You're going to give up flying and traveling? Where do you stand on this?
Stuart, as I documented in my In Trump Time book on February 9, 2020, I was the guy who wrote the memo for the president that said if we act now, we could have a vaccine by October or November. We hit that mark. That was one of the great achievements of President Trump. But in those memos, I also documented that the vaccine was unlikely to be a silver bullet, that we would need widespread use of therapeutics, and that the virus, and this was all in the memo, Stuart, would rapidly mutate over time and we would be in a war of attrition. My position on the vaccine is simple. People should have the choice. The vaccine should only be used for people who need it, which are senior citizens with a risk of death, people with comorbidities, and it should not be used for children, for example, or otherwise healthy people. That is the role of therapeutics. And I had a battle royale in the White House, Stuart, over the use of therapeutics, like cheap therapeutics like hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and other supplements, which I believe would be more effective. And I believe that if we had used therapeutics instead of being fought by the Faucis of this world, over 300,000 Americans would be alive today. So that's my position. I'm a therapeutics kind of guy at the first sign of sickness. And I've had the virus, so I've got it till 20 times the power of antibodies that people have if they get the vaccine. Okay. So I think we need to have a discussion, Stuart, about what good science is. And by the way, there's a lot of people out of work now because of this vaccine mandate that President Trump never would have imposed. Pilots, truck drivers, food processors, longshoremen. I mean, look, if I had known this was going to be used as a weapon, I would have thought twice about getting a vaccine on February 9, 2020. I'm not anti-vax, but this is a personal choice, and science tells me that it's the right choice for me. And you look at Aaron Rodgers, he didn't take the vaccine. He was off a week. He went back and won a game. Healthy people don't need that vaccine, and it's dangerous to give it to them.
All right, Peter, we'll leave it right there. Let's go to China. President Biden, China's Xi Jinping, they held that virtual summit earlier this week. Why are you calling it the Seinfeld summit?
Sure, because nothing happened, and that worked to China's advantage because it maintained the status quo. There was no discussion about the Wuhan lab and getting to the truth about where the virus came from. There was no line drawn in the sand by Biden on Taiwan. And most importantly, Stuart, you remember January 15, 2020. You covered that well. We had exuberance about the fact that there was a skinny trade deal signed and China was going to buy $200 billion of products from the United States. Well, guess what? They're about $70 billion short. That has huge implications for our industries and our businesses, and it's just another example of how the Chinese never abide by any of their agreements, and they make people disappear who disagree with them.
I've got about 40 seconds left. Should we boycott the Olympics?
Yes, no question about it.
You want to bring politics into sport like that? I mean, what would that actually do for us?
Look, there's 2 million people in concentration camps. The healthiest ones are being used for organ donations. China's flying hypersonic vehicles around the world with nuclear-armed missiles threatening us about that. They continue to attack our economy with the 7 deadly sins. Sure, I understand that the athletes have trained hard for that, but when is enough with Communist China, Stuart? They have actually gained relative in their position by attacking us effectively with a virus. And even if you don't think they spawned that virus, they did allow it to seed and spread by locking down their own country, but letting people, 20,000 Chinese nationals a day, leave the grounds and seed and spread that virus. You know me, Stuart, I'm a China hawk. I think everybody needs to be a China hawk in this country. You and I can disagree about that, but how much is enough from communist China? I view them as an existential threat, not as a competitor like Joe Biden says. And by the way, the Pentagon, China's more dangerous than climate change, at least to this country.
Understood. Peter, great to see you again. Don't be a stranger. Come back soon. We'll see you again. Good luck to you,
Thanks
Peter.
for having me on, Stuart. It's really good to see you, friend. Bye.